Hey everyone, welcome to Pearls of Eden. Happy Super Tuesday. I hope that you all are off to a great start. I have a powerful word for you. I want to talk to my chosen ones. I want to encourage you. Think it not strange when you go through the fire, when you're misunderstood, when people just don't get you, when you are rejected. It is part of the elevation package. I know. Nobody wants to suffer with Christ. Everybody wants to rule and reign, but who wants to actually suffer? Jesus was a perfect example of many of the things, of all the things that we would see in some form or shape that as a believer, as a disciple, we will go through. You see, Jesus was counted among the transgressors. Did you know that Jesus was considered a rebel? You know, here he is going against the religious establishment. Here he is kind of doing his own thing. Who sent you? Jesus is what the Pharisees and the Sadducees wanted to know. Where did you get your credentials? Where did you get your wisdoms? Who are you covered by? Who is your spiritual mama or father, right? They want to know, where did you come from? How are you operating in such great wisdom? Well, if they felt that way about Jesus, let me tell you, when you're anointed and appointed, well, people are going to feel the same way about you. And think it not strange when it comes from your own household, your own family. Jesus' own brothers, sisters, father, mother, they really didn't understand who he was. You know, I'm sure at times they really felt Jesus was feeling himself. I'm sure they really felt at times Jesus was pretty arrogant, right? Because when he was over there teaching with the disciples, they said, hey, your mother and your brother, they're at the gate. And Jesus looked and he said, well, who is my mother or brother? But thou that do the will of the Father. He didn't even stop what he was doing because he wanted to send a message that when you're walking in the truth of God, there will be a divine separation. And it might even be within your family. But you got to understand the call that's upon your life. And people could have taken that the wrong way. They could have been like, that's so dishonorable. You mean he's not going to stop to go see? They probably was trying, Jesus probably said, Lord, they trying to, what, they probably don't want nothing. He probably already knew, right? Because these are the same people, you know, that thought he was crazy. They were ready to send, did y'all know that? They were ready to send Jesus to the mental asylum. They thought he was out his rabid mind. Here he is thinking he's the Messiah. Here he is thinking that God dwells inside of him. Here he is preaching and teaching the gospel. And he's like, they're like, where did you come from? And even though Mary had a word from Gabriel, it just goes to show you that people can even get a word and not still have fully understanding of what they even gave birth to, right? And so I want to encourage you that if Jesus was misunderstood, if Jesus was rejected, if Jesus was counted among the rebels, the transgressors, if Jesus was in between the cross of two thieves, think it not strange when people don't get you. Think it not strange when people call evil good and good evil. Come on. Am I teaching and preaching today? Because I want you to understand that people, it's often the opposite, you all. People will call what's evil good and good evil. So I want you to understand this is something you really need to get. And you need to look for when everybody is cheering a certain person on and all of hell is coming against another individual. Guess what? That's a sign of a marked chosen one. When someone is passionate about their assignment, when someone is protected time and time again, and it's like, my God, you know, they throw them in the dens, the lion dens, yet they come back. They're standing in the fire, right? When you see triumph over and over again, when you see somebody like they got now, know that the hand of God is upon their life. And although the gates of hell are coming against them, it shall not prevail. Because what time is it? Vindication season. 2024, we are seeing vindication. I told y'all on levels that you are not going to believe. It's going to keep getting sweeter and sweeter. It's going to keep getting better and better. So keep your eyes peeled, because that's what we're going to see. Judgment for the wicked, rewards for the righteous, vindication. When you allow the Lord to vindicate you and you are not up and down these streets trying to prove who you are, no matter what, Jesus was silent before his accusers. You got to learn to have the hush spirit sometimes, where you are just being quiet. No matter though people are picking up their stones, you know who you are. You know that you're the apple of the Father's eye, and you know whoever comes against you, well, they better tread lightly, because that's not a good idea to touch his anointed and his appointed. All right. So I just really wanted to encourage you, because part of being chosen is this: you're going to be rejected. You're going to be misunderstood by those who are close to you. They're going to mock you. They may think you're arrogant. They may think you're all kinds of things, but know who you are. And when you're in obscurity, here's another lesson: don't be so quick to get out before a platform of people. Let the Lord train you. I remember when I only had 100 subscribers. And I love that time. I even love this time. I love being in obscurity, right? Because I understand that there's a training that's happening. And I would have people try to rush me to get on. You should get on this platform, Marilyn. If you would be on multiple social media, God ain't called me to do that. I'm gonna stay right here, and if those videos want to make its way to different platforms, then great. But I'm not out here trying to be make myself famous. No. When we lift the name of God, he orders our steps. He is the one that makes your name great. You don't seek to make yourself great, and he will give you the blueprint. And a lot of times people will try to rush you out there to be in the limelight before you're ready. And if you've not been properly trained, the flattery, the criticism of people, it will eat you alive. Let me tell you, people are ruthless on the internet. They will say whatever they think, whatever they want to say. They ain't care a word about your feelings, honey, because these ninjas out here are some keyboard warriors, right? And they'll be out there, this is what I think about you. You should do this. You should do that. Yeah. You're not this, right? I don't think you think you're all that in a bag of shit. I mean, y'all. And if you don't have Christ living inside of you, child, you be ready to set it off. You be ready to burn the whole thing down. And that is not the character of Christ. So in obscurity, he's training you. He's building you. He's training you so that when you do get out there, you are properly prepared to shine a light for his glory, to be a light for his kingdom, and not go out there and embarrass God and yourself. Okay? So learn to be patient and wait on God's timing. Learn that a word, y'all. All right, so think it not strange when you are counted among the transgressors, child of God. They thought Jesus was rebellious. Narrow is the path to life, wide is the gate to destruction. So chosen ones, they often walk alone. You may have a lot of people around you, but you really enjoy your alone time. You really enjoy getting in the being with God, right? It's not that you don't want to be social with a lot of people or anything like that, but it's just that chosen ones tend to be by themselves a lot. Okay, that's just the way it is. And so I want you to understand that and think it not strange. It's part of your calling. It's part of who you are. And when you're set apart, one way you can tell someone that's set apart is though they're passionate, they have a calling, they're anointed, they're powered by God to do, they're very effective at what they do, but also they are set apart from everybody. They're not with the work clique. They're not, what's the word? They're not just entangled with a lot of people, but they kind of stand alone in their own right. And also they can be very misunderstood. People make all kinds of false judgments just because they tend to like to be by themselves, right? All right, so I just wanted to encourage you with this word on Super Tuesday. As y'all go out there and vote, be prayerful about, voting who you decide you are going to, check the yes box to. In all your ways, acknowledge God, and he will lead you. He will order your steps. But I'm telling you all, I'm excited for what the Lord is going to do in 2024. And I'm very expectant, and I think that you should be too. So be expectant. Get excited about what God is doing. Pray for your nation. We may not all agree about everything, right? But what we can do is we can stand on the word of God. We can pray for our leaders. We can pray for our elected officials. We can stand in the truth of God and knowing that all things work together for those who love the Lord. And I know this has been a hard time for so many people, these 4 years. But what I can testify to is when you put the Lord first, when you seek the kingdom of God first, when you keep your heart pure, He is a provider, He is a provisionary. And I want to say this, that even in famine, we're going to get to Jeremiah 24 tomorrow too, y'all, okay? So y'all, we're going to do it. Jeremiah 24, even in famine, when you're obedient, even when others are suffering greatly, God will cause you to prosper. He will cause you to be like Isaac. When you plant your seed in that field, He will cause acceleration where you get 100-fold because you stayed in the land, you were obedient, you were not fearful because your dependence came truly from God. And let me say that our dependence has to come truly from God, not a man. Does God use men to accomplish His will? Absolutely. Did He use Nebuchadnezzar to accomplish His will? Yes. Did He use King David, who was not a perfect man, to accomplish His will? Absolutely. This is what you have to understand. Who would have voted for King David in 2024? He took Bathsheba's husband to the front lines of war and had him murdered. He had an adulterous affair with Bathsheba, giving birth to a baby. He went on to marry Bathsheba. David was something else, y'all. He wasn't perfect, but he had a perfect heart for God. So we got to be really careful who we decide is of God and who isn't, right? Because a lot of people would have put their mouth on King David, and they would have gotten themselves a nice little curse, right? Touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm, right? And they would have thought they were rightfully, able to say all that they said, because they would have said, certainly this is not a man of God, but certainly he was. And this is why we cannot judge by the outward appearance, y'all, because God looks at the heart. All right, guys, walk in the light. I love you to life. Thank you all for subscribing, for sharing and liking, for being a blessing and not a hater, for being a blessing, for being a supporter. Because let me just tell you, whatever you measure, it's going to come back to you. So y'all go out there and just sow seeds of righteousness so you can reap a harvest that is so beautiful and abundant, just like you. Bye.